Hey guys, welcome to the first video in the series Ripped Book Review. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a book and I'm going to do a review of it. Now, it might be a book about a certain person that's in shape, a bodybuilder, an athlete. It might be about training or nutrition. It might even just be like motivational or just about like psychology that you could apply to your training and your diet to get better results. So for the first time, I'm going to take the book Sly Moves by Sylvester Stallone. But before that, I just want to say, yesterday was my 41st birthday. It was Wednesday of week 3 of the anaerobics diet for me, this cut that I'm doing. And yeah, I just wanted to say, I went out to IHOP. I'm putting out a video about it. You probably already saw it, about my cheat day or my cheat meal. And I just want to say, I really don't feel bad after that cheat meal. I mean, I've been so depleted basically because I'm doing such an intense, such an intense diet right now where it's basically carbs before and after I work out and the rest of the day like just pure protein, low fat, low calories. So when I did eat a lot of fat and a lot of sugar yesterday at IHOP, I felt it just basically went into my body. I really don't feel like I actually increased in, gained any weight off of it. I'm interested in seeing Saturday how my measurements come out. But like I said, I went to the gym today, for instance, and I always warm up with static exercises. When I did my handstand today, it's just I like planted it, barely moved and stayed there for like 35, 36 seconds, which is pretty good for me because I'm not a trained gymnast. So like I said, I feel good after my cheat day yesterday, but still deciding whether I'm going to up my calories and up my fats or not starting next week. But another thing that was funny about that is while I'm eating, my girlfriend's sitting across the table from me and she's watching me and she's like, she could see like the veins popping out as I'm starting to eat because, when you go low carb and low fat, you kind of get depleted, low calorie, you get depleted sometimes. But she's sitting there watching, she's like, all the veins are popping out in my arms as I'm just sitting there, taking in all these simple carbs. But anyway, okay, Sly Moves with Sylvester Stallone. This is sold as a fitness book, okay? And it's basically just an average fitness book if that's all you want out of it, okay? If you just read it like the way most people will read it in the beginning, Sly on Sly, okay? So it's just, information about his life. Shaping up what Sly moves. If you don't know anything about fitness, some of these exercises are going to be interesting for you. You might learn something. The Sly Moves eating plan, once again, if you don't know anything about dieting, he explains all the different types of diets there are that are most popular and about the positive and negative effects of them. What he thinks is good and bad. And Sly Moves in Action is like 3 days with Sly, giving stress, rest. Basically it's like at the end of the book he talks just about like, general advice. Like I said, it's not really that good of a book if you just want like a fitness book, okay? Unless you're a real beginner, you're not really going to get a whole lot out of this as a fitness book. However, this is one of like my favorite books, and I'll tell you why. First of all, this beginning part is awesome. It talks about his life. Now, if you were not given everything in life, okay, if you didn't have, full ride from your parents driving off to Harvard in a Lamborghini because everybody else in your family went to Harvard, if you didn't have a trust fund or whatever, if your dad wasn't an actor but you're trying to become an actor, sometimes you can get discouraged, okay? And he didn't have shit. Okay, apparently growing up. He didn't have shit when he was starting off as an actor, okay? So if you read the beginning here, if you read the beginning of the book and you see what he actually went through and how hard he fought and like everything he persevered through, this will, it's definitely a motivational thing. It's kind of like one of those like, if you can do it, I can do it kind of things, for me at least, okay? So like I said, if you use that kind of an eye when you read this, in the mindset, what did he have to go through and how is that compared to what I have to go through for whatever goal you're trying to achieve? It's really motivational, really inspirational. And another thing is he talks basically about, now this is like very interesting. I did not learn shit from the nutritional information and the training information he had there. I knew it all. I'm not saying I know everything, I'm just saying it's really basic stuff that he has. But if you read this first part, he also talks about how he changed his body for each of these movies. Now this is interesting because when you read back at the end of the book where he's talking about, you know, what he eats today, okay, on a day-to-day basis, when you read the part about nutrition where he's like, don't go on an extreme low-carb diet, don't go on an extreme low-fat diet, don't go on extreme this or extreme that, and enjoy your life, and da-da-da-da-da. That's not what he did to get in awesome shape. Now, I know there are going to be people saying that he used growth hormone and, you know, performance-enhancing drugs. Yeah, he did get caught with growth hormone once by customs or something. I'm not even talking about that. All I'm saying is, you know, yeah, he says you should have a happy-go-lucky life where you exercise a little bit and, you know, watch what you eat, but don't go too hard. This guy was in awesome shape. You know, drugs or no drugs, this guy worked his ass off, dieted his ass off, dedicated his life to getting in shape for these movies, stayed in shape in between movies too, but really, you know, really pushed it to get in shape for these movies. And like I said, he didn't do that by following a happy-go-lucky diet. So this is what you can really learn about diet and about exercise. For instance here, the way I trained for Rocky 3 was a bit of an overkill. I would run 3 miles in the morning, then go straight into 15 rounds of sparring, followed by 2 hours in the weight room pushing tons of iron. Then I usually do 500 sit-ups before jumping rope for 10 rounds, 30 minutes. I'd eat, nap, and start again. In the afternoon, I do another run, some more heavy lifting, finish off with a long swim. It was sometimes difficult to turn off the desire to train. I'd think about it obsessively. Sometimes I would leave a movie or dinner party at night and drive home to work out no matter what the time, 1 or 2 in the morning. It didn't matter. This is how not to train, because when it becomes an obsession, it does more harm than good. So I include this story only as a cautionary tale. Listen, if you want to be a fucking champion, okay, if you want to get in shape, whether you want to be a model, just want to look good on the beach, you know, you want to do something in sports, you need to become fucking obsessive about it, okay? I mean, you know, it's a cautionary tale, don't do this. Everything that he says in the back of the book about how you should be happy, happy, joy, joy about your diet, your training, is cute, but every single time he talks about getting in shape for a movie, okay, he talks about it, like, I think about it obsessively, okay? This is how not to train. This is how he trained to get into shape. He didn't do that by eating ho-hos and playing with a yo-yo for 15 minutes. He worked his ass off, and he dieted hard, okay? Speaking of diet, I was just as gung-ho about my diet then too. Most days I'd eat little more than tuna straight out of the can for protein, a slice of burnt toast, water, and gallons of coffee. My friend John Travolta had graciously given me an espresso machine, and I'd sometimes have more than 30 tiny cups of coffee a day to help speed my metabolism. It was only later that I realized that I needed all that caffeine because I wasn't getting enough energy from food. Well, you know what, Sly? It got you in awesome shape for that movie. Okay? So what I'm basically trying to say is, like, this is where you get the true information from this book, okay? Where he talks about the exercises and the diet that he did for certain movies. So when you go ahead and you think to yourself, like, what shape was he in Rocky 3, for instance, okay? And you can see this is the diet that he did to get into that shape. And now, like I said, no matter how much he talks about how you don't have to diet like that, you do if you want to look like that, okay? If it fits your macros, is cute. Flexible dieting is fluffy. But the fact of the matter is, this guy worked his ass off and dieted hard to get into the kind of shape he was in for these movies. With or without drugs, he still worked his ass off. Okay? So, like I said, you know, I get a lot of questions about, should I train every day? Can I do push-ups or pull-ups or calisthenics every day? You know, how extreme should I diet? Okay? You know, things like that. And basically the answer is, what are you really looking for? What kind of a result are you looking for? Like right now, I'm just trying to get cut. So like, yeah, if I were to increase my calories, you know, I probably would do better, like I said, with my handstand, for instance. But I'm not a gymnast, and I'm not trying to get into shape for a gymnastic competition. I'm trying to lose body fat. So as long as I'm eating enough to fuel my body so I'm not losing strength, I'm not losing endurance, I'm working my ass off in the gym, I'm improving in the gym, and I'm losing body fat, I'm happy, okay? I think what really did push him along, other than espresso, was just his desire to be in shape, okay? He wanted so badly to be in shape for these movies. He was obsessive about it, and that's how he was able to go ahead and be so low fat, so low carb, just basically purely eating protein, coffee, water, a little bread, he says. I'm sure he was eating some carbs, but, and still be able to continue on to, his goal through his workouts. The same thing happened when he did Rambo 2, okay? Where he's talking about this. I got into an extremely intense training regimen. As the shot got closer, I put myself on a repetitive high-protein diet that consisted mainly of chicken, greens, and occasionally beets. So it's basically the same thing he did for Rocky 3, okay? He ate tuna out of the can and some bread for Rocky 3, and for Rambo 2, he went on basically chicken instead of tuna, and he ate greens and occasionally beets. On weekends, I'd lighten up a bit and maybe even have some ice cream, but come Monday, it was back to the bare minimum. So once again, no matter what he says about going on a happy-go-lucky fluffy diet, the fact of the matter is, like when I was a kid, I thought he was in awesome shape when he was in First Blood Part 2, Rambo Part 2, whatever. And, I still think he's in awesome shape in that movie. And he didn't do it by being fluffy or doing it if I fit your macros. He did that shit by working his ass off and by dieting really, really intensely. So this book basically comes down to do what I say, not what I do. But if you want results, I think you should do what he does, not what he says. Okay? Exercises was a far too intensive 6-day-a-week deal, sometimes 2 times a day. But thankfully, we've learned with workout programs that more is not necessarily better, and in many cases, too much pumping and grunting can destroy positive results by leaving your body in a constant state of exhaustion. Okay? But he says it here. Perhaps it was overly ambitious, but I wanted to take John Rambo, a character that in the original movie had been in good shape, and turn him into a physical specimen even bodybuilders would appreciate. Okay? For me, it wasn't just about preparing for a role. This had become a personal contest of the highest order. How far could I push myself? I wondered. So, like I said, basically, you could listen to what he says about lightening up on your training and stuff, but he said himself, this was an obsession, this was something he really wanted to do, and he saw the result, okay? I literally lived in the gym. Then I would come home at night, and before bed I'd do 200 sit-ups, 250 push-ups, 100 chin-ups. Italics this time. Again, this was far more work than necessary to have gotten the desired results. More later on a scientific approach that will produce dramatic results without demanding so much of your free time. He did the same thing when he went into Rambo 3. But I saved the real work for the abdominals. I convinced myself that it's one thing to get big arms or a big chest, but the midsection tells the real story. At the time, I believed it. But I've come to learn you can be in fantastic health and incredibly fit and not have anything close to a six-pack, not even a one-pack. So don't worry about it. Yes, right now I do not have a six-pack. Right now I do not have, I have better than a one-pack, but I do not have a six-pack. And I'm working on it, and I want to have one, and I want to maintain one. And the fact of the matter is, yes, I'm in awesome physical condition. I'm flexible, I have awesome endurance, anaerobic endurance, I have strength, I can do lots of shit with my body weight, and I think I look pretty good. But the fact of the matter is, if you want to get in extremely good shape, if you want to look extremely good, you have to go extreme with your diet and with your exercise program, okay? So here he is saying, you could be in shape. Yeah, he probably could be in shape without a six-pack, but what I remember about Rocky 3, Rambo 2, Rambo 3 is the kind of awesome-ass physical condition he was in, okay? And, like I said, if he had like a one-pack, but he could, he was in shape, but still had a one-pack and didn't look that good, it still would not have been the same. He would not have created the aura of mystique around these characters that he played if he hadn't taken it to the extreme with diet and with training. And the same thing with his diet for Rambo 3. To keep my diet consistent, I ate chicken and a green vegetable 7 days a week, twice a day. As though it's a bad thing. He wrote here, overtraining wasted thousands of hours of my life. Overtraining is what made him who he is, okay? like I said, he created characters that are never ever going to be forgotten. It's because of the shape he was in. Speaking of which, he talks about fluffy diets, okay? Then he talks about Copland, the movie where he got fat as fuck, okay? And he talked about how he did it. He didn't work out. He gained 40 pounds, went from a 31 to a 39.5-inch waist, okay? He got fat as fuck. He had a problem with acid reflux. He had a problem with his feet. He had digestive problems, headaches, okay, because he gained so much weight. But listen to this. How did he get back into shape? Now, in this book, he talks about how you shouldn't overtrain. In this book, he talks about how you should do a fluffy, happy-go-lucky diet. How did he say in the beginning of the book, not in the diet section, that he got in shape after he gained 40 pounds for Copland? Well, let's look. As soon as production wrapped, I went on my version of the Atkins diet, which was about 80% protein and the rest just good fats, nuts, avocado, olive oil, things like that. I got back into regular cardio routine, started weight training again. I lost 40 pounds in 60 days without killing myself. Muscle memory is an amazing thing. So, like I said, he talks about happy-go-lucky diets, but what did he do to lose all of that weight that he gained in 2 months? 20 pounds a month, 40 pounds in 2 months? Well, he basically ate a lot of protein and a little bit of fat, okay? And that's all he did, and that's what got him in shape. Like I said, the exercise section, unless you're a beginner, it's very well done. But unless you're a beginner, you're not really going to learn anything new. This is, for instance, broomstick twists, okay? This is an exercise that I know about. I'm not doing it right now, but I thought to myself, if I do switch things around, so I actually like dedicate like a couple days a week to doing ab exercise, I'm probably going to throw it in. What really got me on this one is where he says, this is the one that gave me the best abs of my life. Later, it really helped me get chiseled for Rambo 2 and Rambo 3. I've been using this beauty for years. So, like I said, that sold it for me. I'm definitely going to go ahead and try these things, you know, the next time that I exercise. But like I said, it wasn't really like I learned something. It's just look at the exercises. If you're a beginner, you'll learn something. It's very well explained, very well photographed. But like I said, you know, if you're a little bit more advanced, basically it might like remind you to try something. And like I said, there's you know, he talks about the different diets. Basically, he talks about how bad and evil all the current diets are, even though he's used versions of all of them. Then he goes ahead and talks, you know, eating your way through the day, the menus, you know, basically what he eats. But it's like I said, it is actually a pretty good, you know, diet for a normal person to go on. But this is not like the Sylvester Stallone diet. This is maybe what he eats in between movies, okay, to stay in pretty good shape. But if he's like peaking and getting in really good shape for a movie, this is not what Sylvester Stallone eats, okay? What I really liked was at the end, like I said, he talks about just general life things, you know, how to take care of stress, you know, how to, you know, energize your body, get sleep and stuff. What I really, really liked was here, Eye of the Tiger, getting everything you want. And he talks about, you know, there are dozens of reasons why I shouldn't be where I am today. My birth was nearly botched. I grew up sickly. As an aspiring actor and writer, my drama teachers actively discouraged me. I had to beg to get auditions, and nobody would even touch my screenplays. But even as I cleaned lion cages at the Bronx Zoo to cover the rent, I never lost sight of what I really wanted. With an income that never surpassed $1,600 a year, I waited a full 7 years to catch a break. This guy is just a fucking ninja. Who the fuck would put up with shit like that for 7 years, okay? You go and pay for drama and acting lessons, and the people there, not just the students, but the teachers, actively discourage you. You know, you can't get anybody to look at the script you're carrying around, which became Rocky, which is a 4-star classic movie. You know, like I said, you had to beg to get auditions. So this basically shows you, so people are like, well, he's lucky, and he was with this hot chick and that hot chick, and he's in awesome shape, and you know, he's got a nice house, and he's set for life, and he has money, and yada, yada, yada. It's like, listen, he worked like harder than 1,000 people work in their lifetimes to get this. okay? And he waited long enough for this luck, okay? So, like I said, this is an excellent thing. It starts off here, but what it really does is it talks basically about how to use the law of attraction, okay? Because on like the third page of this section, it says, throughout my career, I've used precise visualization to get what I want, both professionally and especially physically. It started with Steve Reeves, the original Hercules, who was the picture inside my head that drove me to the gym week after week. So like I said, that's basically the book. And if you read this book, unless you're a rank beginner, you're probably not going to learn a lot about nutrition or training. It was interesting to read. You know, I'm not going to say I learned great things, but like it was certainly informative to read. But the important thing is like the beginning, where he talks about what he did exactly in terms of diet and exercise to prepare for every single movie he was in, so you could actually see like he looked like this, how did he train to get this look. And like I said, at the end, you know, he talks about, once again, the law of attraction. I guess it's true now, isn't it? You know, for him to get through everything he went through to get what he's gotten, you know, it's like he must have had some massive powers of visualization, massive powers of thinking positively, and just massive powers of like, you know, the law of attraction. Okay. So anyway, like I said, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be doing more of these book reviews. I'm going to keep you updated on Project F 2015, how I'm going to the extreme to get kind of ripped. And I'm also, like I said, if you go to anaerobics.com/diet, link below in the description, you'll be able to download my diet plan that I'm following right now for free.